Okay, I'm here at Mabry Mill. I took a little walk, couldn't find, well, the restrooms that were at the front where I was parked were closed, and I saw these other restrooms while I was out walking, so I drove over here to use the bathroom. Anyway, I'm still at Mabry Mill. I'm going to go take some pictures, some photos. While I was waiting for my phone to charge up, I uploaded what I call video dump with flowers, plants, and nature. Flowers and plants mostly, and trees, plants, and flowers. And I uploaded that. That was like a 25-minute video. It uploaded while I was out walking. Anyway, so I'm here at Mabry Mill. I'm coming up the end of the day. I don't have much more I can do. I'm going to take some pictures and do some video here at the mill, and then I'll probably head back to Meadows of Dan and in Virginia and take a little video and a few pictures there. And then that's going to be pretty much the end of the day because I don't want to run into any more deer. I was on the Parkway too late last night, and I don't want to end up like I was last night, so or out on the highway. Anyway, so I'm gonna get to it now. Hi. I just want to let everyone know this is I want to call this an introduction. It kind of is an intro to this video, but it's not going to be the very first video, primarily because it is now nighttime, it's late, it's getting dark, and I don't want this to be like the very first video that's out there. Anyway, and besides, in the first video I announced where I'm at, which is Mabry Mill on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Initially, when I did this video, started the video this morning, it was supposed to be all of it, part 3 Blue Ridge Parkway. Well, by the time I completed Mabry Mill, I realized that it wasn't going to be possible for it to be all one video. That's what I had intended, but it was just going to be too much. Mabry Mill itself was quite large. It was quite large. There was a lot of things I took video of. I actually took more video than I actually intended, or actually thought I would. I don't want to say intended. I just did a lot of video because there was a lot of interesting stuff at the Mabry Mill. Anyway, of course I took video and I did a lot of pictures, which some of it I turned to slideshows. Anyway, and just to let everyone know right up front, I did do, and I do some slideshows in all of my videos because I like to highlight my photography as well, because I'm very much a photographer. I'm a photographer first, and I've been doing photography for a very long time. Since, like I said, I think in another video or something, since 2009 when my ex-husband got me into it, I started photographing haunted places or supposedly haunted places, and then abandoned places, and then I ran out of that and I started doing nature and other things, places of historical interest. Anyway, so, but I'm including the slideshows, but specifically including more slideshows in the Mabry Mill in this particular video, because I simply could not do video of every single thing. There was just too much there. And again, I also like to highlight some of my photography and some of my pictures as well. But there was just too much to do that much video. I just really couldn't. So that's part of the reason I pulled it together and did video. Anyway, so as you can see, it's nighttime now. But anyway, I will come back and talk a little more at the very end of this video, because as you can see, it's nighttime. I'm at the end of the day rather than the beginning of the day, and this is not done at the same time, obviously, as the very first video, the very first introduction you see where I say I'm at Mabry Mill. Obviously, you can see I'm not still at the Mabry Mill. It is late, and I've already left. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of give this as an intro. This is the Blue Ridge Parkway, but this video is strictly Mabry Mill. There's nothing else in it except the Mabry Mill. Okay, I'm over here at the other entrance to the Mabry Mill. I was at the front, came over here to use the restrooms, like I said. Anyway, it says, down this path you will find buildings, farm implements, and other displays that document rural life in Appalachia over a period of about 100 years. Most were restored and rearranged here during the 1940s and 1950s. These displays illustrate aspects of mountain life that were colorful but not unique to Appalachia. If you grew up in other areas of rural America, I think I did that wrong. Anyway, you may recognize some of the things you encounter. I'm not sure about that. I'm not that old. Anyway, I'm going to get to the video now. Here's the way it looks from this this vantage point. Okay, I'm here at the Mabry Mill. This is the actual, I am assuming this is the actual mill house, whatever. Let's walk up here and see what it says. Okay. It says, it's a versatile mill. This building has 3 sections. The center section houses a grist mill. The wing to your left contains a sawmill, while the section to your right houses a woodworking shop. Ed Mabry built the original mill in both additions about 1910. It says, in the grist mill, the customer poured shelled corn into the hopper on top. Large, carefully grooved millstones, separated by fractions of an inch, sheared the kernels. The miller checked the texture of the mill as it entered the bin and could adjust the distance between the millstones if necessary. It says customers paid a toll of 12.5 cents a bushel, or 1/8 of their total mill. It says, unlike many of his competitors, Mabry did not have a bolter, which separates the finer mill. He also did not grind wheat or other grains. Okay. It says in the woodworking shop, Mabry used his jigsaw and other tools to perform custom work and to cut spokes and wooden rims to make wagon wheels. Well, guys, I don't know if you wanted to hear all that, but I did anyway. So let's walk over here to the other side of the mill. This, of course, is the entrance. This is the section to the right. And just actually, I photographed all of this. Ooh, mosquitoes are, I think it's later in the evening, it's about 7, the mosquitoes are coming out. Alright, let's go over here. There's a little pond here. And of course you can see the car coming up there on the Parkway. I don't like that, but not much I can do about it. If there's a picture, I just wait, but I'm not going to redo the video. Oh, there's some of those beautiful orange tulips. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Okay, here are those beautiful orange tulips. Okay, here we are at the left side of the mill. And as you can see, here's a little creek down underneath. It is wooded and beautiful out here. There's the little steps that I came down. And of course here are all the special challenges. It says as you can see, I'm not reading it to you this time. I'm just going to leave it up there for a second and let you guys read it. No, it says in later years, Mabry's health failed and he stopped maintaining the water wheel and flumes. To furnish power for the mill, he bought an 8-horsepower engine and his wife Lizzie took over mill operations. By the time Ed Mabry died and Lizzie moved away in the mid-1930s, grist mills were becoming obsolete. Larger roller mills and national companies that marked flour and other grain products in stores across America had replaced the local grist mill. And as you can see, yes, these are pictures taken from way back when. Also see there's a lot of ants here too. And of course that you can see behind. You can see the mill over there. And you can see the, I guess what they call the race and the flume, or the flumes. Okay, let's walk over here. Okay, I'm guessing here, but I'm going to assume this is the blacksmith shop. Of course, there's nothing in here now. Yep, I was right. Blacksmith shop. So the blacksmith shop is rarely seen today. Okay, I'm over here at Appalachian Houses. It says here, more than a century ago, log cabins were a common sight in Appalachia and in other rural areas of the eastern United States. Samuel and Elizabeth Matthews built this cabin near Galax in 1869, made largely of oak. It has one room on each of its 2 floors. Over time, the family installed a wood stove and added a bedroom, a metal roof, and weatherboarding. In 1956, Matthews' cabin was donated to the National Park Service. Workers carefully restored the structure to its earlier appearance and moved it to this site. Because there were many small sawmills, frame houses were also common in Appalachia. The Mabrys built their home on this site about 1914. They used boards and chestnut paneling sawed at their mill and workshop. Well, as you can see, here is a picture of the original house. And then there's Ed and Lizzie Mabry. And then there's another picture. And then let's back up and you guys can see the cabin restored. I also have some pictures of the cabin on the front side and the side as well that I will include in this video. Okay guys, I'm out here on out here on a small trail, and you're looking at the side of the log cabin. Let's pan you guys around. Well, I don't want that darn RV in the picture. I got it in there earlier and I don't like that. But what are you gonna do? Here we go. Darn it, the mosquitoes and the bugs are starting to get out. I'm panning a little too fast, I know. Okay. Oh, yes. Very interesting. Let's walk over here. Okay, I'm at the whiskey still now. Let's see what it says. Many settlers and early residents brought with them the knowledge and the custom of making whiskey. Although tax laws and for a while prohibition made the activity illegal, moonshiners have always operated in the mountains and other areas of the South. Converting corn to liquor has several advantages: convenient and compact to store and easy to transport. It also provides a cash income. And then it says right here, to make a run of moonshine, cornmeal, malt, and sugar are mixed with water and fermented in barrels like those to your right. This process takes from several days to nearly 2 weeks, depending on weather and the amount of sugar used. The fermented mash, called beer, is heated in the copper still, which is mounted in a rock-lined furnace. Stills vary in size, style, and capacity. The copper pot and other equipment here represent a small, simple operation. Vapors are piped from the still to the barrel or flake stand. This contains the worm, a spiral tube that is immersed in a constant flow of water. The worm cools and condenses the vapor into a liquid, which flows into a bucket or other container placed beside the flake stand. To increase alcohol content, the product of the first run is usually cooked again to make doublings. A small still can produce from 12 to 20 gallons of corn whiskey in a night. Well, back in the day, that's how they got their whiskey. Well, guys, there is the old whiskey still and a barrel out to the side. Wow. Okay, let's zoom in so you can get a good look. It's getting darker, so the picture's not quite as good as what I would like it to be. And then there's the barrel that the still goes in, and of course there's the water that I'm assuming they used for their still. My God, that's like amazing. Okay, that picture's a little better. You can see the still and the barrel there. And then, of course, if you zoom out a little more, you can see the whiskey still, the barrel, and the creek. Okay, guys, I'm at the last one. Sorghum making. Making sorghum molasses became popular during the Civil War when supplies of sugar and corn syrup were interrupted. The practice continues today in many communities where the sweet smell of boiling sorghum can be enjoyed in the cool October air. And then it talks about a mule hitched to a sweep about 10 feet long, walks in a circle, turning the rollers of the sorghum mill. Oh man, that's interesting. And there you can see, there's the mule pulling the sorghum mill. And then down here says the juice is cooked for several hours in an evaporator or boiler box similar to the one to your left. Wow, interesting. Oh, yep. And here is I'll assume here it is. Here's the sorghum mill. This is interesting. Oops, I don't want my car in the background. Okay, there you go. Okay, here I am at an old wagon. Back in the day, this is how people had to get around. They didn't have cars. They had to ride on these things. I don't know how long it would take to drive a mile, or 2 miles, or 5 miles in one of these. It's all kind of yucky now. Of course, it's been out here for 100 years probably, since the invention of the automobile. Yep, there you go. Yep, this is how people got around 100 years or 150 years ago. Okay, guys, here's the back side of the mill. I don't even know how you get from the front side of the parking lot over to here. Anyway, let me show you. Let me zoom in so you guys can get a good look. Okay, here's another view of the mill. I actually walked out on the highway, come down here, and was kind of interested, or curious rather, to see how you got in here, because I didn't, well anyway, because I parked in the overflow parking. I was in the regular parking, and then I returned and went to the overflow parking to use the bathroom. Anyway, oops, there's a car in it. That I don't like. I'll zoom you guys in a little bit. Okay, here is an up-close video of the mill. I'm right on it. Yes, very nice. And that goes out into the pond. Okay, I'm just now leaving Mabry Mill. I'm going to make my way down to Meadows of Dan. If I'm lucky, I'll get a few pictures, a little bit of video. I'm not sure if I will. It's getting really dark. Well, I'll try, but I may not. Later in the video, you will also see some slideshows of the Mabry Mill. There was just too much for me to take video of every single thing there. So I took a lot of photographs, which I will pull together in a video later. I did a lot of video, though, as well, and then there will be more and slideshows, which, of course, I'll come back and introduce or talk about a little bit. Anyway, now I'm headed to Meadows of Dan. Whether I can take pictures or not, it's not going to matter. But I know I do have service down there, so I can map to my last stop of the day from there. So I'll be back with you guys a little bit later. Hi, this first video is at Mabry Mill, rural life in Appalachia. Anyway, that's where I started. Anyway, it's a big mill. It's a pretty large area. Anyway, that's where I started, rural life in Appalachia. This next video is the old Appalachia house or a cabin rather, at Mabry Mill. This next video is of the mill itself. There's like a little sign to it as you walk in. I started from the parking lot. Well, I actually started in a little bit different area. I started in the parking lot, then I had to go to the bathroom, and well, first I took a little walk. I came back. There's some restrooms up at the front in the main parking lot, but they were locked, so I drove around the corner and parked in the overflow parking, and went to the bathroom there. Luckily, I walked, so I saw it. Otherwise, I would have driven all the way back to the Meadows of Dan to go to the bathroom, which wasn't far, maybe 3-4 miles. But anyway, and just down that path, you see the little welcome sign that says Mabry Mill. Now, if you go in from the main parking lot, it's kind of a little bit more self-guided. If you go in from the overflow parking area, you kind of go into it from the back side. So basically, I just started with what I liked, which was the old Appalachia house, and then I moved over to the Mabry Mill house. But anyway, Mabry Mill, I mean. But anyway, this is like a little sign, and the Mabry Mill. This video is the Mabry Mill. This next video is the blacksmith shop. Here's the next video. I'm not really sure what this is. It looks like a little shed. I think there was a little bit of wood underneath it. There's actually a couple sheds. There's that one and another one a little bit further down at the mill. This next video is of a shed, and I'm not sure what this shed is supposed to be or what it's supposed to be used for. I have no idea. There was nothing there, no signs to say what it was for. Anyway, I have no idea. This next video is of a wagon. Back in the day, over 100 years ago, well, actually probably about 125 years ago now, this is the way they got around. They got around with a wagon, and I did a video on it as well. which is earlier in this video anyway. And I'm commenting that, you know, I wonder how long it took them to, you know, get to, you know, say a mile down the road or 5 miles down the road. I mean, if they had to go like 5 miles, you know, like 20 miles was probably all day or half a day. Of course, the wagon was pulled by horses. There are no horses there, but the wagon's there. You know, back in the day, oops, the light went out. Sorry about that. Anyway, back in the day, this is how people got from one place to another. And I was thinking about this, you know, this was before the invention of the automobile. When the automobile came about, people realized, hey, they could drive over 100 miles in 2 hours, as opposed to probably, you know, 20 miles or 10 miles was probably 2 hours. But anyway, thought this was interesting. You know, because back in the day, this is how people got around. This next video is of a whiskey still. Another very interesting find for me. This is the way people got liquor back in the day. And according to the information there at the still, they said on any given night, they could make between 12 and 20 gallons of corn liquor. Anyway, I have no idea what that is. Moonshine, I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. But anyway, an interesting find. I do know that the first time I visited this section of the Blue Ridge Parkway, and I do remember visiting because I remember the Orlena, whatever, the Puckett cabin, which is not in this video. It's in the previous video or the other video, previous video. Anyway, but I do remember stopping. And I do remember being here, but I do not remember the still. I don't think that I actually photographed. I know I didn't photograph the still. I know, and I certainly didn't do video back then, but I know I didn't photograph it. Didn't even find it. I probably stopped, maybe snapped a few photos, must have been getting late. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long time. Like I said earlier in the other previous video, it's been a long time. It's been probably over 10 years. I know it's been at least 10 years because that's when I had that other car, that white Ford Taurus. So I know it's been at least 10 years. But a whiskey still, that's very interesting. And the fact that it's still there, they actually left it. Of course, it's part of the National Park Service and all that, but still, I mean, for me, that's just like, I love history. I love finding things like this that are old. You know, things that are like back in the day. I mean, like way back in the day. And, you know, and shows how our ancestors lived, you know, back in the 1800s. I mean, you know, that our, you know, like the way my great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents lived, you know, and being around those old houses. You can't go inside the old houses, but you know, they've got that certain smell, and I can remember from way back in the day, from when I was just a little kid, from my grandparents still had a house like this, and so I remember this. Of course, they didn't have a whiskey still, I don't think, but I, you know, this is very interesting to me. I find history just very interesting, and you know, and of course, things were a lot harder back then, but you know, I love history, and I find it very interesting, and finding this whiskey still and being able to photograph it and being able to do a video on it was, for me, that was probably the highlight of the whole thing for me. The next 5 videos are of things that would have been used around the mill. The first one I think is a log cart. There's another one there for like stones or something, soapstone. There's another one on how to make soap. Which, by the way, didn't say anything about making of the soap, but by the way, back in the day, back in the 1800s, or it might have been back in even earlier than that, dating all the way back to 1600s, they actually used pig fat to make soap. Anyway, at least that's what I read on the internet. Anyway, So again, there's a few interesting finds: the log cart, the stones, the soap, the soap. There's also one there, molasses. I think it was sorghum molasses. A mule would actually turn to have to walk around, and there's of course, as you see, there's a previous video with the showing an old photo of a mule and such. Again, this is all very interesting to me. I find this amazing, and happy that there's been some of this stuff has been kept intact, by the Park Service, so that people can look at it, view it. And as long as the Park Service stays in business, or stays whatever, however it is, however they do things, it will be around for a long time to come. But anyway, again, I love history, and I found this site. I do remember from the first visit, and I found Virginia more to my liking as far as finding old cabins and things of that nature than on the North Carolina side. The North Carolina side has more views of the mountains. Virginia has less views of the mountains, but more things like the mill and the Puckett cabin and things of that nature. The next video is, again, of several things around the mill, and I made a mistake. The very first part of the video, or the first photo, is the one where the mule had to turn to do whatever it was for the sorghum molasses. Anyway, again, some of it didn't have signs or info, but various things. But they were various things that were used around the mill at that time. Here are the last two videos. The first video is right there at the Mabry Mill, right there at the mill. There are some flowers there, a little pond, etc., etc. And then the second video, or the last video, is a couple of pictures I took across the street. I was kind of wondering what was, how to get from the main parking lot to it. So I, anyway, walked up that way, I left, and walked down the road, which was actually the Blue Ridge Parkway Road, and walked to the main parking lot. As about even with the main parking lot, I decided to snap a few photos from across the street. Then walked into the main parking lot, and, oops, again, the light. Anyway, walked into the main parking lot, and circled around and made my way to the Mabry Mill, which is, like I said in the beginning, more self-guided. But anyway, these are the last two videos. Hi, it's the end of the night. I finally got to my last stop of the day here at a truck stop. Anyway, this video, like I said in the second video, which kind of was supposed to be the intro, but I didn't want it to be the first video. And besides, I introduced it in the very beginning anyway, so that was at Mabry Mill. Anyway, this video, obviously, it's Mabry Mill. And of course, I'm gone from that area now. I'm not on the Blue Ridge Parkway. last night, I made a promise to myself that I would get off of the Parkway a little bit sooner, and I still didn't get off quite soon enough, but I got off sooner than last night. Last night, I almost hit a deer. I came within an inch of hitting a deer. Today, I come within another inch of hitting a deer, and I made a promise that I absolutely was going to try to get to the truck stop, or my last stop, sooner than later. Anyway, I did get here a little bit sooner, probably about 9. Well, no, it was a little after 9. Actually, probably about 9. It was getting closer to 10, I think, or maybe it was not. Maybe it was 9:30. I don't know. Anyway, when I got here, my ex-boyfriend called me. We talked on the phone, but my service, it dropped like 3-4 times, you know, driving through the Virginia mountains. So I called him. Finally, when I got here, stopped, I called him. We talked for a little while. He had to get ready for bed. Anyway, and then it started raining, and I was kind of stuck. I couldn't really get out of the car. So anyway, it's the end of the night, and I am ready to conclude my night. I'm going to try to pull this video together. I'm actually probably going to pull this video together before I pull the first Blue Ridge Parkway Part 3, Day 3 together, simply because I did things a little differently in this video, and I want to be able to, I want to remember, you know, and pull it together while it's all fresh. The other video I did strictly each one, even the slideshows I did an intro to them and then did the slideshow. So everything is completely in order, and all I got to do is just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know. Real simple, real simple. This one's going to be a little different, a little bit harder, because it's like, you know, one up at the top, one down, you know. Anyway, it's hard to explain, but when I pull the videos together, I'm pulling together sometimes 40, 50, almost 60 videos at one time, and that's live video, slideshows, and introductions, and regular video like this. So and they're sometimes out of order. So anyway, sometimes I'm pulling together, like I said, 40, 50, 60 videos at one time. I know with Filmmaker I could probably pull together more, like up to 200, but it would be too difficult. I'd probably never be able to do it because I wouldn't be able to remember it. So this works well, and it keeps me within an allotted time of about, I try to keep them under 40 minutes. Again, the light went off again. It came, whatever. Anyway, I try to keep them at about, probably about 30 minutes or less, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Anyway, this video is like I said, Mabry Mill. I'm at the end of the night. I'm ready to conclude. Anyway, I sat here in the car and I started pulling my videos together and doing my intros and just getting this video ready because it was still raining. Well, it's finally stopped, so now it's time for me to make my sandwich. I was going to get Subway, but I've changed my mind. I'm probably not going to do Subway. I'm probably just going to have another almond butter and jelly sandwich. I'm very hungry, so I'm just going to have that and probably eat a few chips, run in the store, get me a pop, and then I'm good to go. And I'll eat, watch a little bit of TV, and then go to sleep. Anyway, the next video after this video will again ended up being a little bit, it's kind of going to be a kind of a short video, but I also did a video at Meadows of Dan in Virginia. It's strictly right there in Meadows of Dan. And there's just no way I could have pulled together the Blue Ridge Parkway, Mabry Mill, and Meadows of Dan into one video. It would have been just way too much. Anyway, so I see I'm almost up. My time's almost up, so I'm going to say good night. Have a good week, good weekend. God bless. Peace.